Hello.
Hello, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm really glad you said that. That's really make I've been feeling very vulnerable lately. And so like hearing that, like sometimes I feel a little like attacked when you say hello, but I think that time you just God, I don't even want to do this bit. Hi.
Hi, how have you been doing this week? It seems like you're a little I don't know, perhaps a little bit triggered, a little.
I'm a little bit triggered. I'm getting a little too woke, huh?
uh
Right?
Mental health is so important, you guys. I'm an ally, okay?
Oh my god, wouldn't it be like just crazy if like a bunch of Zoomers just like were hanging out and oh my god, they would talk about like Twitter and Instagram
Oh my
and
god.
TikTok
Oh my
and
god. Your
they'd probably listen to
podcast?
Slater, us podcast.
uh so I take it that you may have seen a movie this week that you're perhaps wanting to talk about. Uh,
Oh yeah,
can you expound a little bit
Days of
more?
Being Wild. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, great
No,
movie.
I yeah, great film.
Wish we were talking about it.
Unfortunately, what I want to talk about today is, of course, the new A24 film,
Uh huh.
Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Now, I'm really torn on it because on one hand, it's not a good movie,
Sure.
but on the other hand, it did lead to a bunch of drama over a New York Times critic having all of her dirty laundry leaked, which was funny. So,
Yes. Yeah, I would love to hear more about all of this. Um,
uh,
but I mean, like, yeah. What's up with the movie? What's the deal with it?
well, have you seen it?
Yeah. Well, no. Yes, and no. I watched. Um, like I want to say about 75% of it before I realized that I wanted to kill myself. So I stopped watching it. Uh,
That classic millennial move
yeah,
right there.
and I started.
Can't
I
finish
I know
anything.
my attention span. It's just so shot from scrolling through TikToks all day. I just don't have time in my busy schedule to sit down and watch a movie. Except for the fact that I turned this fucking piece of shit off and went and watched Decision to Leave, which is an hour longer, but much 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 better. Perhaps maybe one day I'll come into the office and we'll chat about that one. But yeah, bodies, bodies, bodies. I realized uh, it was a. I realized not only that all I was going to watch was a bunch of people playing Zoomers, who kind of most of them didn't really seem to be Zoomers, uh, arguing and bickering and doing absolutely nothing else for the entire runtime of a feature film, uh, while also saying a bunch of it's a Reddit script, really, is how it reads to me. Like a redditor fucking wrote it. Like the run hide fight guy wrote bodies, bodies, bodies. It seems like.
uh, that's a little harsh, but not unfair.
Well, what makes you
Uh,
feel not that way, or I guess.
well, okay. Where did you leave off?
During an argument, and
Uh,
I refuse to elaborate any more than that.
how many of them were dead by
uh,
that point?
several. I want to say it was after Emma died. So
Emma,
like,
that's the one whose trait is that she's kind of annoying, right?
well, again, it's we're having a tough time sussing out.
She's the one who's like she acts like she's like a really good friend, but actually she's like really nasty and talks bad about all of her friends behind their backs.
That's not narrowing
Um
down
Maybe she's
anything.
like super self-absorbed and kind of like hypersexual, but in like a weird performative way where she also seems
Mm-hmm.
like to get upset when people sexualize her.
Mm.
Um is she the one who maybe like has a podcast.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't fucking remember. I
uh,
what like what at a certain point, like these are all just like different shades of the same character, aren't they? It just except for the main character, I guess.
I disagree with that. I think the main character is also the same character. So okay, I think then you really missed out on what really pushed the film up for me to 2 stars.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Um,
I was really shocked to see you and a couple other friends have rated this higher than a half-star rating on Letterboxd. What's up with that?
so I think the thing that you really missed
Uh-huh.
is that in the last 2 minutes of the film, Connor O'Malley just walks into their backyard.
I think that's great. I might go back and watch just that. I do
It
like that.
that made me laugh so hard because not only is it just Connor O'Malley, not only is it just blowing getting Connor O'Malley in your film to give him one line,
Yeah.
but also he walks into the backyard and immediately looks 20 years older than all the other characters, including the guy who's supposed to be like 40.
Right. Yeah.
No, he's the friend that they keep talking about who punched Pete Wentz and then or Pete Davidson, whatever. Who punched the guy who's banging Kim K. And then disappeared.
Was banging Kim K.
Was banging.
Don't you pay attention to this shit, Jay Bearhat? Don't
I
you
do.
don't
I
you
do. Not actually, I don't really.
Right.
Yeah, he he just walks into the backyard and he's like, "What happened?" And then the Ukrainian girl goes, "I have reception now."
Hmm.
And that's it. Anyway, did you guess who the killer was?
Was it the Ukrainian girl?
No,
Ah.
there was no killer.
Okay, so they all just like
Pete Davidson cut his throat doing a TikTok video.
that is insane.
The thing that sucks is that I guessed that the second death. And then the third death, I was like, oh, that's what the twist is gonna be, is that there is no, and like the whole time I was like, please, I don't care which girl it is, let it be one of them is the killer. Please let it be that there's like a completely unrelated killer and that they've all been being paranoid and backstabbing each other and it's actually just some guy.
Right.
Please don't let it just be the stupidest, like, wow, we all didn't trust each other and now we're all dead because we
Wow.
kept killing each other, because we kept betraying each other because of drama. Um, yeah, that gets to the big thing that I had a problem with the film, which is in addition to that being really stupid. Well, no, okay, I'll back up.
Sure.
I like that concept in theory. You have to really pull it off. And one of the ways you would have to really pull that off is by having the characters not all fucking sound and talk and act the same.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because at that point, there's no reason I'm going to care about who the killer is. So I'm just going to be thinking, well, what's the twist?
Hmm.
There's no like motivations for any of the characters where I'd be like, oh, of course. Because it's all the same motivation, which is that their friends suck and they hate them.
Everybody just hates each other. Yeah.
it's it's trying to do a Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf thing.
Uh-huh.
But the thing about Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is that in addition to the like really cool, I would argue, kind of like ending of the film where it's like the couple that hates each other is stronger than the couple that loves each other because the couple that hates each other knows each other so intensely and that's why they hate each other. Um, all of those characters and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is maybe unfair because that is a fucking incredible film and play. But all of those characters have like really deep psychological things. All of their relationships are really fraught and stuff. Every time there's a revelation or a betrayal or someone is possibly being deceitful, it adds a complexity or like it changes things in new light and stuff about that character.
Mm.
Not a single time. There's a part near the end where one of the characters is like, she makes fun of your podcast and she thinks it's stupid. And it's like, fucking, that's probably true of all these characters. They probably all think that.
Yeah.
Like that's not a like. It's not like everybody else in the group is like super mean on her podcast, but she's like, no, I think it's really good. And then it turns out that like she's actually the only one who listens to give us drama about it, and
Mm.
we're at least being honest about the fact that we don't like it.
Right.
They all do that. They all are like very nice and flattering to her about it, but shit talk it behind her back. It's not a fucking betrayal or reveal to the audience that one of them also does it.
Yeah, I mean, like, basically from the start of the movie, my issue is that there's like no real tension in terms of like whether these characters don't like each other, because it's clear literally from the jump that absolutely none of them like each other.
Yeah, that they are all that it is a toxic friend group,
Yeah.
which could make an interesting film, but it removes the tension if your tension is supposed to be who in the friend group is toxic towards each other, or who in the friend group is the one who hates all of them the most to kill them. Because it's like they all fucking hate each other.
Yeah, they all fucking suck. And like
And they should. They're all fucking miserable. They're
absolutely.
literally canonically in the film all rich kids. Even the girl
Yes.
whose trait is that she's the less rich one. In one of the big climactic ending scenes, it's like your parents are upper middle class,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Fuck you, no, they're not." And it's like, come on,
Yeah.
like, like she's not gonna have that argument with her fucking friends who are rich. Rich people don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
These
mean,
aren't like characters who are all poor queers. They're all rich kids. They're all fucking rich. They don't give a shit about that.
which like I don't know. I like I struggle to see like what the point is. I mean, like it feels like okay. I mean, like the movie doesn't really feel like a very strong critique of that shit. Like it feels like it was also made by rich kids as well.
Yeah.
Uh, and again, like not very interesting when we're starting from that point and then we're going to that point. You know what I mean? Where like there's no journey there. It's just like okay, they all suck. They all suck comically and cartoonishly in a kind of caricature way. And then you get to watch them all die, but it's just like I I don't care. Like
If there was at least a slasher, it would be fine, because slashers oftentimes have an entire cast that sucks.
yeah.
That's part of the fun of them sometimes. But it's not even a slasher. It's like
Yeah.
trying to do a Scream thing, but with no slasher.
Which sucks. You could get a cool killer out of it, but you really don't. You just have to fucking. I don't know. You just have to deal with the fact that it's like an Among Us thing where there is no killer. We're all stupid. Which is so smart. What a smart premise for a movie.
It's like how hard could it have been to write something better? This is what it comes down to. And I would see some people be like, "Oh, but the acting's good." And it's not.
No.
Which is like I don't hold that against any of the actors, because it's like when you're given a bad script like that, there's really only so much you can do.
Oh yeah.
And it's not like they're not, I guess, trying probably.
Yeah.
It's just not a good script. There's no acting that's gonna make you be like, oh well, at least this performance was good. Because it's like a performance of what? What are they performing?
Yeah. Pete Davidson certainly felt geriatric here.
It's so funny how he's supposed to be like the same age as them.
It's completely like horrible and absurd. I can see liking Pete Davidson, in a role. Um and obviously he's got like lots of comic, timing and training and lots of time on SNL, and he delivers the lines, with vigor and with meaning and with, he has a lot of, they sound very natural coming out of him. It's just the problem is that he's not natural there,
Yeah.
like,
No, he doesn't come off like he should be there. He
yeah,
comes off like he's like way older than them, which they could have even written. He could have even been like the cool older friend that they all met because he would buy them alcohol when they were underage.
right, yeah, and instead he's like the rich kid whose parents are out of town over the weekend, and he lets them into his parents' alcohol stash, which he's not allowed to touch. Just all of this shit. I mean, like, they did have the older guy there, which I thought was, like, yeah, at least like a funny touch, that there's just like this old guy that she's known for like 2 weeks or whatever. I mean, like, all of it was like really stupid and ham-fisted and like trying way too hard and being way too obvious and all this stuff, but either
Right?
way,
Because even then, it's like, oh, you managed to not even make the guy who's 40 come off like he's actually a 40-year-old hanging out with them.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Terrible.
a thing I realized when I was coming out of it was like, if you're gonna do a movie like this, just admit that you're wanting to make Search Party and hire them to write it for you.
My God, my
Because
God,
like
night and day.
that, right, it's so insane when I walked out and was like, oh, they're trying to do Search Party.
Yeah, which, like, watch, but like, pay attention to Search Party. Like, like, are people paying attention when they watch things that are made and happen? Like, Search Party is so fucking incisive and so lived in, and the characters are practically like written for those actors as well. And it's like, Search Party is such a situation where it's like, okay, these are rich kids. You're not supposed to feel, you're not supposed to feel anything for them, really. Like, you're supposed to hate them, obviously. They're all sociopathic and terrible. But also, you kind of feel for them because they have, like, a foil, which is the rest of the world, which is somehow just as sociopathic and terrible as them. And the show is able to, like, lead you on this roller coaster of emotion where it's like, oh, I kind of feel sorry for the main characters because of what they're trapped in. And then it slaps you in the face and it's just like, okay, well, you shouldn't have felt sorry for them in the first place.
The way that they will do the thing of like, you start to emphasize or think one character is better than the others, at least, and then just immediately are like, nope, this guy actually also fucking sucks. Nope, they still
Yeah.
suck even worse.
Like, literally, like, just exposing, oh my God. Oh, also, Jay, have you been watching The Rehearsal?
No, I've been really meaning to though, because I keep hearing really good about it.
The Rehearsal is like, as much as it's like a docudrama, it has like very similar stuff where it's just like a character will show up and you'll be like, oh, I love this person, wow, this person is amazing, and then you spend more time with them and uh I don't want to spoil anything, but like, everybody watch The Rehearsal. Jay, please watch The Rehearsal. uh but in either case, like, yeah, that stuff is, that's way more interesting than just being given the lead immediately, where it's just like, oh, everybody's just shitty. They're just shit
Yeah,
people.
they're all mean and they backstab each other and they gossip about each other and they're shitty to each other and it's all like weird power plays. But they're not even like interesting to watch power plays because they're written by someone who probably is a little too close to the subjects.
Yeah, and all of this just in fucking sufferable, like, social media, like stuff that, like, didn't, like, not even the natural flow of a conversation, not even shit that like any normal human would say. Like, usually that feels really nitpicky to do, but like, standing over a dead body and like interrupting a conversation to be like, okay, I actually think mental health is so important, blah 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 blah. Like, I can see how it would be
God,
funny in a movie
I
that knew what it
forgot
was
how
doing.
bad that fucking dialogue thing was.
The dialogue is literally
It was
so
like they
bad.
had gone that far and we're just like, oh fuck, we didn't make a joke about BPD because that's what like Zoomers will care about and talk about these days.
Yeah.
Um, which like fucking first off, that's millennials.
Get it right.
Zoomers
Yeah,
make fun of BPD.
yeah. Here. That's the
Zoomers
other
are
thing.
ableist.
It like barely knew who it was talking about. Whether like it couldn't decide whether it was being like stupid millennial or stupid Zoomer. Like it just this weird both sides of the fence thing.
Yeah, like they're ostensibly supposed to be Zoomers, but they keep doing and saying things that I'm like, that's like millennial. Like even the thing, it's like, oh, she only ever says things she heard on like Tumblr, and I'm like, Zoomers don't use Tumblr.
Yeah.
They use Twitter and Instagram
Like,
and
no,
TikTok.
yeah, TikTok is the one. That's like the one that they're on, and maybe
Yeah,
some other shit that I haven't even heard about yet. But still,
what fucking discourse are they getting on fucking Tumblr? Like,
Tumblr isn't even for that anymore. It's for
yeah,
funny
it's
pictures
for
of
pictures.
monkeys.
It's for funny pictures and drawings of the Among Us as babies.
Yeah,
Like they're like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. Weird, weird. Like, feels like a COVID script. You know, like someone just being inside for months and months and months and months and months, and wanting to write their little movie. Because
yeah, no.
just how unlived in it feels and how uh you know first draft kind of situation.
I mean, I guess it's working I guess people like it because people are going fucking hard defending Amandla whatever from the fucking turf NY writer.
Okay,
I,
yeah,
I
what's
I've
the
already
situation?
touched on like all the problems of this film because like honestly after that it looks okay. I guess it's not like there's nothing really visually to write home about.
Uh-huh.
Performances are meh. It's a film. It's a film that came out.
It's a film, it's a movie.
The fucking so Lena Wilson.
Yeah, let's hear
Hold on,
about it.
I need to look up Amanda, which a friend and I were talking about it, and we were like, uh, Manla Steinberg, and it was like I keep forgetting that there's actually an L in her name, so like every time I see it, I think it's like a typo.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then I was just like, it would be really funny if Lena Wilson leaned into the turf thing and just replied to her with "Get the L out." Because
God damn.
that's a turf hashtag. Anyway, so Amanda Stenberg, so Lena Wilson, some fucking hack writer for the New York Times.
Uh-huh.
So much so that when this stuff was first going down, I was like, yeah, that seems like a bit excessive to like DM some like popular like TikTok film reviewer, like fucking like okay. And then I found out that they actually write for the New York Times and I was like, they what? Like their fucking writing is terrible. Their media analysis is exactly the kind of shit I would expect. They're the kind of character that should be in this fucking movie.
Yeah. This movie would have been better if
Just
it was about NYT hack writers. I mean, to be a hack among New York Times writers is that's a special hack.
it's because they're nepotism hire.
Great.
They're literally a daughter of like somebody who works at the New York Times.
Oh, fantastic. We love
Um,
that.
but yeah, so Lena Wilson writes some review that looks stupid. Makes a critique, has a line in it where it's like A24's like 90-minute advertisement for Cleavage and Charlie XCX's new single. As an editor choice, I would cut out the Cleavage line and just leave it to just 90-minute commercial for Charlie XCX's new single because that's funny and true.
Yeah.
And like the Cleavage thing is kind of partially the like TikTok reviewer thing where it's like, I mean, yeah, the characters are sexualized, but they're sexualized in that way that like people in their age demographic, like their demographic sexualizes themselves. Like it's not like there's not a particular gaze on the film, but it's like if you're the kind of person who makes that kind of shallow critique, you could make that shallow critique of this film.
Yeah, that feels I don't know. That critique feels a little fish in a barrel at this point in history.
Yeah, it's very like I noticed that the characters in this film were a little sexual. And it's like, yeah, because they're fucking supposed to be. Shut the fuck up. Anyway.
I noticed that life has sex in it.
Yeah, right? Like, we're living in the most sex dry era of film, and you're like, whoa, these kids are a little fruity with the sex. Shut up. Anyway, she's some lesbian. Um, and the reason she's a lesbian is relevant because then Amandla, who is also a lesbian and or not lesbian, I think she's bi, some
Mm.
sort of queer, and I believe also non-binary, of the they she clan, one of those.
Uh-huh.
Um, sends her an Insta DM that's just like, "Hey, nice review, Lena. Maybe next time you can stop watching my maybe next time if you can take your eyes off my boobs long enough you can actually watch the movie." um real like
That's
you're gonna
messy.
you're yeah, real messy. It is messy. And like, to start with, the fact that people like from the jump were like, that's actually not that bad, that's fine, and that's actually her flirting with Lena. I'm like, no it isn't. Like, don't fucking
No.
don't
No.
give me this bullshit. Like, no, like, that is messy.
Yes.
This then becomes like a mess off where Lena's like, what's the stupidest way I could possibly respond with this?
Oh god.
And so she makes a TikTok where she leaks the DM, which again, everyone being like, wow, you can't do that. I'm like, if a actress messaged me with something that petty over a review, you know I'm leaking it.
Of course. Of
I'm sorry.
course.
That's funny. But Lena is like, I'm not gonna let someone with this much social power like bully me around. And it's like,
Fuck off.
what?
Like
Why can't you just be like, wow, Amanda sent me this really angry message because I didn't like her movie? Like, that's funny. Like, just be
yeah, just
like,
post the fucking screen cap and be like, lol, and that's enough. That's fine. Ugh.
also, and then like, Manla is like, I just, like, because I have such a large chest, I'm really tired of like people sexualizing me, and like, and that comment had to be about me because I'm wearing a tank top in the film, which, like, by the way, I decided is something my character would wear. So just like immediately, both of them going into like, again, characters in this movie should have been characters in this movie style. Like, how can I like manipulate social language stuff to like
Yeah.
be the up one on this one? And it's like, I'm sorry, I can't think of any funnier way to neg your co-stars than to see a review that talks about the amount of cleavage in the film and go, well, she must have only been talking about me.
She was obviously talking about me and not any of these fucking flatty patties over here.
It's like, because it was like when I saw that line when people were first talking about it, I was like, the first character that came to my mind, because I didn't know the actress's name when I saw like, oh, she leaked this thing from Manla, was I thought it was the other, the bimbo-y girl with the podcast, because she's wearing like a top that pushes her chest up and gives her like really obvious cleavage.
Yeah.
Like, it's so like, when I found out that it was a Manla, I was like, did she have cleavage in the film? I wasn't really paying attention, obviously, but like, so funny in a movie filled with other women, most of whom are introduced in a swimsuit, to just be like, she must be talking about me. I'm the only one with a chest hair. Such a funny. So then, yeah, it explodes in the way that it explodes from there. There's all this drama. People start leaking stuff from like other reviews Lena had did, like pouring over stuff, trying to find stuff to like cancel there with, which then leads to someone leaking that she had been in a AFABs only queer Facebook group.
Yes.
And that she was one of those like encouraging detransition like turf types.
Yes.
Which did lead to a friend of mine putting it really well, which is like, what were you doing in that Facebook group? So messy. This one's getting less attention, but I guess stuff is also now starting to go around about like Amanla like fucking over like a collaborator when like she was coming up through like the Tumblr queer art scene.
Mm.
Just like super fucking messy like drama stuff.
Well, I mean, like, anybody who's kind of successful in that capacity, you can probably find those
Dirt
types of
on.
skeletons, that type of dirt on, like...
Yeah. No,
Just
yeah, exactly, right? Like it's not surprising, but it's just like while I was seeing all this, I was like, man, this is way better than the movie.
we need a
This is
movie
like
about this.
yeah, this is like way more tense. Like, oh fuck, like who's gonna get taken down? And then there's like the stands of Amanla, like there's all of her fan base like being fucking psychos and like actually kind of creepy in like the exact way that like Amanla says she doesn't like about
Right.
it. There's like New York Times like apologist types like trying to defend Lena and turning this into this whole like like a critic can't have an opinion kind of thing. It's just like so much more interesting and exposes so much more of the dynamics to stuff like this better than the fucking movie that it's about is, which tells me that this was probably an ad campaign for the film.
Oh, so Lena's like in on it.
I don't know if she's in on it,
She's the
but
sacred
like
cow.
yeah, like she's the one that got like kind of like what they did with Carey Mulligan and Promising Young Woman.
Uh-huh.
They just picked one that's like way funnier to do it with because it's someone who literally comes off like a character in this movie.
Great. When a movie's bad, you can always expect an ad campaign that involves a fucking messy ass social media spat. Uh,
Genuinely, it's starting to feel like anytime a movie is like a satire or trying to make a message, when it's not good, there's going to be some stupid social media spat to try to get people to talk about it.
that's really bizarre and really frustrating and really annoying. I mean, yeah, definitely like both sides are bad, but I definitely remember like the weird white tears thing happening with the
Oh,
NYT nepotism hire.
it,
Like,
it is it is incredible how Lena Wilson was like handed a dub and just immediately turned it into an L.
yeah, like with all of this, like, oh, I was attacked. Shit, like,
Yeah, like it is. I am actually amazed at how much someone could fucking fumble the get.
yeah. Well, and truly, like, you work at the NYT, you work at the fucking literally the consent manufacturing
Manufacturer.
plant.
Yeah, you work at the consent manufacturing plant.
Like,
You can't pull the social game. You can't pull the social power game. Like
you're
like
not
what?
allowed. How much social power do you truly actually think Amanda Stenberg has versus you? Like,
Right. Like I said, like when I first saw that, that's why I assumed like, oh, they're like a TikTok reviewer because it's like, yeah, you're probably somebody with literally no institutional backing. No, they're actually someone with a lot of institutional backing.
like one of the most fucked up. The New York Times, like, I can't, like, the New York Times offices deserve to have something happen to them that I can't say on a podcast. Like, it's
Yeah.
that fucking bad. Like, there is no there's no fucking, like, queer actor that, like, anything they do compares to what they fucking do over there. It's,
Actually, absolutely insane.
yeah. Uh,
Um,
that's very
or
funny.
or if it was an actor, like it should be someone like with actual fucking like established institutional power at this point, not like someone who's like still in their up and comer phase.
Yeah, yeah. Like a 23-year-old, you know?
Yeah,
Like, what 23-year-old in the world is able to do anything? What, name a 23-year-old that can tie their shoes, you
the
know?
the Lena Wilson TikTok that people dug up where it's like her talking about getting the job at and New York Times just being like, yeah, I'm just like a really good writer. Like I know I'm really good at writing criticism. I'm just really good at like it's an art form, and I just I never had any formal training, and I'm just like, girl, it fucking shows. Your reviews are shit. Like
Ugh, my god. Yeah.
so fucking insane. So funny.
That's
Could have had a funny viral tweet. Could have just been like, "Lol, look at this thing Amanda sent me."
yeah, yeah. It wouldn't have been a big deal. You had to put like It's let this be a lesson for future nepotism hires at famous, at extremely powerful publications. Turn the face cam off. Just don't turn it on. Don't turn on the face cam. Just post the screen caps and post lol. Just be like the rest of us, you know? Be like the rest of us rats and cockroaches. Just, sprinkled through the manure and the trash of the streets. And don't turn your little spats and battles into a fucking
think piece.
Yeah, about how...
That's the real thing. Not everything has to be a fucking think piece.
Yeah.
Or you should think about it before you piece about it.
It makes me, I don't know, it certainly makes one think about the status of, like, victimhood or whatever, and how, like, it's just not very conducive to, like, any good conversation about, like, how these social media dynamics work out, where, like, the reality of the situation is that like, everybody is perpetrator and victim at the same fucking time. Everybody is, and no, maybe in different capacities of each, but it's, like, I don't know, this is a very funny situation, way more entertaining than the fucking movie.
Yeah, no, that was what turned this from, like, okay, you watched at least some part of it, like, this is a fun episode now, because, like, it is really life be surpassing art sometimes.
Art imitates life, imitates art, imitates life, imitates art. The Ouroboros continues, and we learn all along the way, and we have a fun time doing it. Well, I'm glad to hear about it. I'm glad to hear there was something to be gained.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that for the sequel maybe they'll improve on it. Sequel, of course, being spaces.
Shut the fuck up! Fuck you! Get out of my office. Get out.
All right, I'll go. All right.
Get the fuck out.
Fair enough. Sorry, I'm sorry.